That's the goal. We'll see what happens. River table. I've been wanting to do one of these for a long time. I've done a bunch of other projects with this beautiful black walnut tree that I cut down a couple of years ago, and it's been curing outside. This particular piece is really interesting because it's two sister pieces out of the same limb, and they're now book matched. Grain all matches up, so it ought to turn out really pretty. It's got some really... Get both sides level, and then sand them down and get them to the grit, usually about 220 that you want them to be. And then you take some seal coat resin, which is quick setting, and you wipe it on all of these edges so that those seal up the pores of your wood, so that you're not going to get any bubbles migrating out of the wood and into your resin. Frame is basically built out of mylar. This table is 28 inches wide and 48 inches long. Then I taped it all with Tyvek tape. Also put silicone around the corners. So on this table, my plan is to put the resin in on a square basis, and then I can trim and play with it the way I want it. I'm leaving the live edges to the outside because I want to have an actual bit of resin on the outside of the table so the table is actually square. I bought this resin. It's especially formulated for deep pour resin. The place is called River Table Epoxy, and this says up to 2 inches. My daughter Jessica brought me a bunch of these powder samples, blue, and then I've got some gold flake. Then I also have some dye that's blue. I took these little cups and I put different combinations of resin, gold flake, powders, dye, to see kind of what I wanted to have happen, because I wasn't really sure what I all wanted to do. All of these samples that I did, and this one I like the best. Poured a layer of resin with the magic blue powder, and I put another ½ inch of clear with just a little bit of this blue dye over the top of it, and it's giving me kind of the look I'm after. And what I'm after is kind of a gold flake that kind of looks like it's in the bottom of a riverbed. I want it to look more like an actual riverbed without putting sand and rock and that kind of stuff, because I also want to eventually illuminate the bottom of it with LED switches. Now the instructions tell you that you're supposed to mix out 3 to 1 of this. We did some calculations and came up with, we think this is going to take somewhere around 2.5 gallons total. I'm going to mix up right now the first gallon and put that with this blue powder and the gold flake so that it sits in the bottom. Now I've also made marks on the inside of this table, the Tyvek table, or the Tyvek tape, so I know where halfway up the wood is. So when I get to a gallon, I'll have an idea of how much I'm going to need overall. I really want just that bottom layer to be what shows the gold, and then I'll put the clear layer over the top. That's the goal. We'll see what happens. Start with the hardener and pour it out. So I need a quart of it. They tell you to pour it in and then pour the actual resin into it up to the 128 ounce, which will be the gallons. By doing that, that'll give me the 1 gallon total, which will be a mix of 3 to 1. So now it's already, you can already tell it's starting to get milky. That's normal. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of this in. This is something I'm just kind of guessing at to make sure that it's what we're going to want. It might be too thick, I'm not sure, so that's why I'm not doing the whole thing this way, is because I want to kind of figure that out as I go. And since this is my first effort at it, you can see how nicely that mixes in. Now this stuff they also tell you Make sure you scrape the edges, and you need to mix this for about 3 to 5 minutes. Another couple of minutes to go here. And then I'm going to sprinkle the gold flakes on top of it. I don't want them to stick like they're sticking out of the sand, like they're kind of hidden to some degree, and it's kind of like a treasure that you're looking for. That's why I went with this darker mica powder to do this. They say start at one end and kind of pour it in and let it find its own level. And let it level itself out a little bit. We'll come in and fill these voids. It's seeping into the sides as well, so I'm not too worried about it. It'll find its own level. Here and there, just.
I want them to be smaller though.
It's going to be a rich vein.
Gold in them hills.
That's too much.
All right, that's looking really cool. So I'm super excited. That turned out really well. The mica powder gave it that kind of swirl, cool look that you see some of the other tables having. But I think with the top coat of the pigment stuff, gold will still come up. That'll give us exactly the kind of the look I was looking for. It looks way better than I expected. I think we guessed right on the amount of mica powder to go in there that gave me the color that I really wanted. Awesome. And I don't know that I need to torch it. We're looking around.
There are some bubbles over here.
I'm going to turn it way down because I don't want it to... Yeah, you can see it taking out the bubbles. Yeah, you can see it's taking them out. That looks... I think we
You got some.
probably should have done this. I think this was a smart move.
Man, that looks awesome. Those mica powders are amazing.